I still think Mercedes is going back to WWE. I think she's already signed, and I think she shows up at the Rumble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
look,
possible.
why not?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't
yeah.
you? You can work.
I think that's more likely than not.
Flair's gone, and I think she's using all this for leverage to get the money she wants or close to the money she wants from the WWE. I mean, why wouldn't you? You have Triple H booking. The product is hot as ever. Their biggest star in the women's division, Charlotte Flair, is going to be out for the next year, basically. You step right in there, and you can feud with Bayley, or you could get in that damage control picture. She could be at WrestleMania in a title match in 2 months. Why would she go to frickin' AEW? Makes no sense.
And the other thing, like Bayley just resigned, and I think Bayley and her really want to work together. And I don't know if Bayley would have stayed if she.
I mean, god damn, dude, they want to work together. Fuck, talk about the most over. Who wants to see that shit?
Not me.
That's my problem with this. It's like she goes back there for what? The money? She's done it.
Yeah,
like that's what was interesting, and I respect. Like, I get it. WWE's the big show in town. You got all the money. To me, it's like, that's why I respect someone like Ospreay, who had the opportunity to go to WWE, and he'd never been there, but he wanted to go to AEW for the matches to be able to ply his trade. When I see Sasha Banks going back to the Fed, it's like, yeah, that's the expected thing to do. But for me as a fan, that's not. I could care less. I've seen that. All those women over there, like, who's she going to work with that's interesting? They didn't use her right the first time. She never got a legit run. Jade's is she ever going to debut? Like, you know what I mean? Like, to hear the dirt sheets talk, she's nowhere close to being ring ready. Like, I don't know. Her going back to WWE does nothing for me. Talk about an ultimate yawn.
No, think about it.
I like it.
They could build a huge story between her and Britt Baker. Can you imagine, like, the two top? That would be an amazing story if they told it right. That's what I want.
Just, I mean, how many iterations of Bayley and Sasha? Like, who cares?
I have no confidence in the ability for them to tell a good story with Mercedes at all. And to be honest with you, I don't even like Britt's in-ring work. I think she's overrated. And in addition to that, I don't. There's nobody in AEW that I want to see Mercedes face. There is
Jamie Hayter. Give it to me all day.
She's on the shelf. When is she coming back? She's got unfinished
supposedly
business.
Anytime.
You know, she's got a face for that title. She's got to face Britt possibly at one point. You got to have that.
Mercedes and Tony. I'm all about that more than, like, what are we going to do? Run down the 4 horsemen matchups again?
Yeah.
I would rather. I mean,
I wouldn't. And that's what AEW gives us. Like, you have people like Sasha, Mercedes who could jump ship.
I think the WWE women's division is overrated in the way it's booked. Talent wise, it's incredible. It's the #1 women's division in the world, obviously, but they are way overhyped in the way they book their women. Tell me one fucking monumental feud that Rhea Ripley has had. One story that she's had that's incredible, that is her, not her and the boys in Judgment Day. I'm talking about a female wrestler. The Charlotte match at Mania was incredible, okay? We all know that. But besides that, where's the story there? Where's the story? You know, like, we think that WWE is going to come in and do this incredible women's storytelling. They have the same problem AEW has. And I hold their feet to the fire even more so because they have way more talent than AEW, and they've been doing it longer. They have an embarrassment of riches over there, and they still can't tell women's stories like the men's. Where is our bloodline feud with all of these incredible women? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it just happened though, right? I mean, they just had the big payoff at War Games. I mean, that was a huge women's kind of War Games match going on. And
that was a throw together.
I am not saying that is long-term storytelling, but again, I mean, I just mentioned damage control and everything. Who knew it would have Asuka's in it, and obviously Bayley will be outcast.
That women's War Games to me felt like the classic token. All the men have this match, so we got to give one to the women.
Of course, yeah,
which is
100%. But it still started something, right? So that now you have something to go after. You have something to kind of further along this, right?
I can say
So
this: that women's War Games match left such an impact on me. I don't even remember who Damage Control fought.
yeah, I don't even remember, to be honest.
There you go. Like,
brought up the point about that match. Wait a minute.
The point is they have the match, and then they can build off of it, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, the match was created just like Tony Khan would book Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, so or so, just a fantasy match, right?
I think,
so. I mean,
yeah, this is
it is what it is.
There's a bigger debate, and I think we've had this debate before, but there's a bigger debate to be had about women's wrestling in general, because I think AEW catches a lot of heat. It's a 5-year-old company who had to kind of pick the scraps of the indies for female talent when WWE had that market cornered. Talking about a company that's almost 70 years old, really honing and knowing their craft. It's like, who do you expect more from? Do you expect more from a 5-year-old company with a thrown together roster of women, or do you expect more from a company that's almost 70 years into the game? They kind of wrote the book on women's wrestling up to this point, and I think they're suffering a lot of the same problems AEW is. If we want to talk about great booked female divisions, you got to talk about TNA.
TNA, yeah, no, of course,
yeah.
There's no argument there. No argument at all. But I do think WWE does a better job overall booking. I mean,
they can build stars way better.
Yeah, they build stars. They have everything to do it. So
yeah, they got the talent, the machine. I mean, yeah, they're the trendsetter.
And that's my only reason why, if I'm Mercedes, I just don't see what going to AEW does. Yeah, you can have a match with Tony. Yeah, you can have a match with Britt. Yeah, you can have a match with Saraya, whatever you want. But I mean, she can do all her independent stuff. Obviously, there's the freedom there. I get that from a wrestler perspective.
She can also help pioneer their women's division.
That's why people like Danielson,
Moxley,
and Jericho, and Moxley, that's why they went there, is because it's bigger than just the selfish act of me. It's like, I'm doing something to help the business in general, to give by having a healthy alternative that provides big contracts. It allows the people in WWE to have an option to play and get those big contracts. So
I think AEW's women's division is on the verge of a breakthrough, and I think somebody like Mercedes coming in could help pioneer that.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree with it at all.
It's like, do you want to do something that's not just self-serving? And I know it's all about making the money. You can't wrestle forever. You got to make what you can while you can. So I'll never hate on someone for taking the big payday, but it's not like fucking Tony Khan's handing out tiny checks. Like, you can make money there too. So then it comes down to, do you want to do it for yourself, or do you want to maybe make an impact in a bigger way? That's why I respect Moxley, man. He had the big money contract right there, and he's like, no, I want to do something else.
He didn't even want to see
create a change. Yeah.
He didn't even open the envelope like Sneed is saying to see what the offer was, because he knew he wanted out.
He wanted the change. He wanted to be behind a change. And as you know, fans want to tear down AEW. That's fine, but it is a very net positive for the wrestling business to have them around.
Without a doubt.
Oh, without a doubt.
All right, guys.
Can't argue there.
Any final thoughts on Deonna and Mercedes before we move on?
I hope they follow through on Deonna, man. I think we're going to get her at Revolution with Tony, so I hope they follow through with that.
All right, guys, we'll move on to the second topic of the evening. What are realistic business and creative expectations for AEW in 2024? Now, Will, this is the question that you brought to the table, so I will defer to you to go first.
Yeah, I think this is a very broad topic, right? I mean, we know that AEW, as we've been saying, is only a 5-year-old company, right? So you're a 5-year-old company with a reported possible loss of about 35 million on last year's books. Again, this is all conjecture. I have no idea. I'm not in the finance department for AEW, so I can't tell you if they're hurting, they're not, what the situation is. But yeah, I think what is like, we've seen this trend in ratings. They're not growing in the ratings category. And I know there's always the argument, well, ratings aren't relevant in today's society because there's so much streaming and so much social media and other avenues that you can get your programming on. but still, I think they're a great indicator. And whether or not you say you're on the side of, well, they're doing okay, and they're growing, they're a small company, it's growing, it's good for we all know it's good for the business. We don't want it to go away. We only want to get better. So really, I mean, I think they're hand in hand. They go hand in hand. Right? What is the business? What's a realistic business expectation? Can they get into the positive, right? Can they do that by obviously honing in on the booking and creating stories and making their programming, making their viewers more invested, or making new viewers more invested in their product. And I think that all lies with the man that you see on the screen, and what he wants to do and how he wants to do it moving forward, because I think they do need to make some changes.